Hey there, thanks for tuning into Bricks. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Bricklink AFOL Designer Program set, the Winter Chalet, which is actually a very old rejected LEGO Ideas proposal, which was given new life and made into an official LEGO set thanks to LEGO's partnership with Bricklink, allowing for the Bricklink Designer Program. So what exactly is this? Well, this is a model that essentially reached 10,000 votes on LEGO Ideas, putting it under consideration to become a LEGO set, but unfortunately didn't quite make the cut into being actually redesigned by an official LEGO designer and joining the LEGO Ideas portfolio. Thankfully though, Bricklink was able to actually work together with LEGO to give these ideas a second chance through the designer program, which proved to be so popular that some designs, like the castle in the forest, sold out within mere minutes of their release. Now, there are pros and cons to this, because the cons are that these were basically only available for a single day before selling out. They're super limited, and they actually pit projects against each other, making it really tough to figure out which projects that you were going to get. But overall, this has been a really great type of prototype or pilot experience to be able to launch Machus designed LEGO sets. I think it's a really good program, and they are continuing with it. So I can't wait to see the future AFOL Designer Program sets. But without further ado, I think it's time we jump into the Winter Chalet. Okay, so this is the official LEGO Winter Chalet set. It retailed for £150, $200, or 170 euros when it was released for a very limited window on LEGO.com and Bricklink.com, but right now, if you want to buy a new copy, be prepared to spend close to $400, almost double the original value, just because of how rare it was to actually be able to get this set. It came with 2,705 pieces, making the price per part ratio a really solid 7.4 cents in the US, 6.3 in the Eurozone, and 5.5 in British pounds, all of which adds to incredible value for a set like this. The set comes with 7 minifigures, all of which are exclusive combinations of the existing pieces, but none of them have actually any unique prints, much like all of the other Bricklink AFOL Designer Program sets. These did not introduce pieces in new colors or have unique minifigures. Instead, they primarily focused on building models out of existing pieces and going from there. Now, this set actually has quite a lot of unique details to it, in that it's supposed to be something of a Winter Village style of build, but with a little bit extra detail, especially compared to the Winter Village sets that we get nowadays. This has a full interior, multiple floors, there are separatable floors as well, but first we're going to take a look at the exterior of the set itself. There isn't honestly much to say about the minifigures, they pretty much are just standard city style of minifigs, so I'm going to set all these figures aside right now and just focus in on the main build itself. So for this build, we have a nice little winter lodge, and I actually really love the architecture detailing of this build. You have different patterns of snow that has fallen on the roof, which really does feel very natural and realistic, especially with little bits of snow flurries just added on to the sides here. And what's really cool is that you actually have a lot of really nice details done in even just the rock work making up the side of the building. The bottom part is meant to represent layered cobblestone and kind of a worn look, so you have some jumper plates that are sticking out of the sides, you've got some imperfections built into the side of the wall with some studs being used, some studs on the side construction pointing outwards on this way, and altogether this feels very rustic and very realistic, especially compared to the level of detail that you would normally come to expect in a standard LEGO building. The side of the building itself has some vines creeping up the side, which are really nice and definitely add a splash of color, especially with the reds and greens for Christmas, and this entire pattern continues wherever you see some stone detailing. It might not seem that complex looking at it from afar, but when you zoom in, you'll notice that there's a lot of little tiny details being integrated into the way the stone is built that actually make this model a lot more advanced than it is. The downside though is that this does tend to eat up a lot of the pieces, where many of the pieces, again there's 2,705, go into just making the rock work on the side of the cobblestone feel very detailed, which definitely feels more like a mock versus a set, which makes sense because this is, after all, the Bricklink AFOL Designer Program, and this really feels like somebody's mock and not really a fully finished LEGO set, where if this were to be made as an official LEGO set by LEGO designers, I'm sure they would have reduced the details somewhat, still maybe gotten a general sense of it, but we're able to cut down on a ton of pieces by just reducing detail. But again, because it's a mock, you can really enjoy just extra layering of detail being added into the cobblestone. Now, on the roof itself, it is a nice asymmetrical build, which is really solid. That's actually something I really do like about the build, how it is asymmetrical in the way it's constructed. So you have snow moving alongside the sides of the roof here, you have a very organic sculpting for the actual snow falling on the side of the roof, and you even have brick-built smoke coming out of the chimney, which I think is a really nice touch, and this is some of the best and most organic brick-built smoke I have ever seen built in an actual official LEGO set. It just feels so clean in the way it's constructed. Now there are a couple of different external details on the outside of the model I do want to point out. This door here opens up to a bit of a supply closet, so you have some supplies on the inside of this particular area here. You have some nice printed wood elements to showcase the logs and stairs going directly up over that. This to me feels like a ski lodge, and it really does give me nice memories of going to ski lodges. I love to ski, I ski all the time in the winter, and this kind of feels like something you would see up in the mountains. Now, here you can see the main door to kind of the lower level of this building. You can take the stairs up to a higher level as well, so everything is fully minifig accessible. And now I think it's a good time to actually rotate this around and showcase the interior. Okay, so this actually has a full-on dollhouse style interior, and I'm actually really impressed with how this is done. Now, surprisingly enough, this actually has a pretty complicated way to remove the different sections to be able to access and get inside of this. First of all, to remove the roof, you simply remove this block right here. It is just mounted on jumper plates, making it very easy to remove. And this entire thing just kind of slides out. It's not connected on any studs, it really just kind of acts as its own thing. Same for this part of the roof as well, that just is easily removable. Now, moving on to here, you can actually remove the levels similar to a modular building. What you have to do is you just slowly lift this up off the stud there. Be very careful with it, but this entire thing lifts on upwards, so you can have full access into the main dining area, which is the lowest level of the building. I'm going to adjust my camera here so we can get a much more in-depth look at exactly what is included on the inside of this building, but this is probably one of the most work-intensive parts of the set. I noticed that a lot of the Bricklink AFOL designer sets have a lot of attention to detail on the interior design, which makes sense because they're made by adult fans of LEGO, but this was absolutely a lot of work to just layer each and every one of the individual one-by-one tiles onto here. It was a lot of fun doing it. Like, I did really enjoy actually being able to lay these tiles down, but I definitely feel like it could have been maybe a little bit cost efficient, and you could have saved on a lot of pieces if they didn't have a actual tile pattern for the floor here. That being said, I think it does look really good in the final product. I also like how each of the tables has a checkered display as well, and each one of them is laid out slightly differently. They all have similar candles mounted on the sides, as well as these candles right here, which do look really good, but all of them have different styles of food. This one's more of a dessert table, you have people eating chicken here. These ones are empty tables ready for the next guests, but even the wine bottles are just a little bit offset by a little bit. It just makes it feel more alive and lived in than rather if they were just all identical tables, so I really do like that. You have a fireplace in the corner here, a nice brick-built tree, and even a cash register and a bit of a kitchen area, which is really nice. Definitely did not need to add that in, but that's in there anyways. A coat rack, a place to, I guess, store your umbrellas and whatnot, and then all sorts of just different decorations mounted on the side of the wall, from a rifle to a little key there. So kind of adds to the overall story, and this is just a really cozy area. I feel like I want to go to this place and eat here, so overall I definitely feel like it has succeeded in what it's trying to do. Moving onwards, we can actually place the upper section on here. Now, just kind of have to make sure that this attaches onto those jumper plates correctly. Super easy to just remove the top and bottom levels, but here is where the chalet part of things come in, because you actually have a whole area here dedicated to sleeping quarters for your different characters and minifigures. This is not easily removable, so basically what this floor is what you get. You can't really remove any other layers, but I actually really like it because this is almost like a communal living space area. This door opens up to see a shared bathroom, so you have a shower, you have a sink, you've got some like towels on the wall and whatnot, even a toilet built into the side here, which is just a nice touch. You have a heater brick built here, which this is a really cool thing. If you can't really see it, I'm going to zoom in, but this is actually supposed to be kind of like a space heater, one of those metal grills that you would see realistically appear on many buildings. So that is actually really solid. I'm actually a big fan of how they were able to depict that. And then each of the rooms has their own unique different set dressings, from a little minifigure stand here being used, maybe it could be a Bionicle action figure that someone's brought with them, two different styles of the beds, to this one being smaller, this one being wider. They all have this nice pattern on them, and even a ladder that you can climb upwards to access the third level here, which just has more place to sleep. Overall, I feel like this is a really solid interior for a build like this. I really do like how cozy it is, and again, this is just using existing Lego pieces. No new pieces or anything special or fancy happened to make this actually come together. This is really just using existing stuff, so overall, I'm pretty happy with it, and I feel like this will fit in a winter village really well, if not have the potential to kind of outshine a lot of LEGO's existing modular winter village sets, which are really great, but just simply not as big and detailed as this. Now again, this is a facade because the back of it is fully open, but honestly that doesn't bother me that much because most of the main building feels very covered up, feels very finished. I guess in theory you could buy 2 of these and have a fully enclosed version and have this kind of continue on the side. I'd love to see someone try and do that. I think that would be really interesting to see someone accomplish. But overall, I'm actually pretty happy with this style of build. This was not one of the ones I was most excited for when I first built and ordered all the Bricklink AFOL Designer Program sets. To be completely honest, this was the one I built last because I felt like the other ones were just more interesting to me, but after having built it, I can say I definitely underestimated how good of a build this is. Just the attention to detail really is stellar, with just wood trusses being used here, kind of showcasing the architecture of the building, just a very organic snow pattern. I love the cobblestone and brickwork being used here. Overall, just a big fan of how this all came together. And again, this is just a testament to the fact that I really wish these were more widely available. Having them only available for about a few hours on one day was not enough, because I'm sure people would want to get this, but just don't have the funds to get it for so much money on the secondhand aftermarket right now. And so hopefully for the future Bricklink AFOL Designer programs, these were the preliminaries, and LEGO is hosting round 1 this year, and the sets will ship in like 2 years. Hopefully those will be run a little bit better in terms of having more stock for folks who are interested in getting these builds, because I feel like a lot of folks could be missing out without getting these sets, because this is a really solid build. Unlike a lot of the other Bricklink AFOL Designer Program sets, this one is not very fragile. It just comes together really nicely. It's very sturdy and solid, and overall, a fine addition to my collection of Winter Village style sets. That's all for this review. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at the Winter Chalet, and thanks so much for watching. Alright, and with that, we have summed up our look at the brand new Winter Chalet from the Bricklink AFOL Designer Program. This is a great model. I really do like how it kind of retains that classic Winter Village feel, but gives it something a little bit unique and different. This doesn't feel like your standard Winter Village set, although it definitely goes alongside a lot of them, and definitely doesn't look out of place in any sort of LEGO Winter Village diorama. With that, we've summed up my thoughts on this build. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duck Bricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.